Well, this morning, Hamas is reviewing a 20-point plan from President Trump to end the war in Israel and Gaza right now. The White House released a plan with the terms on Monday.
It includes demilitarizing and redeveloping Gaza and releasing the remaining hostages from Hamas's captivity within 72 hours of Israel's acceptance of the agreement. Some of the relatives of hostages are celebrating the news while others are nervous that the plan could fall through.
Joining us now to talk about the plan and the likelihood it could lead to a resolution, political science professor at UNC Chapel Hill, Dr. Navin Bapat. Navin, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning.
Thank you.
Let's start with the biggest thing first. Do you believe that this has any chance at all of actually coming to fruition where we can see both sides try to find an end to this conflict?
So I would say just generally, if we look at peace deals and conflicts with non-state actors, typically they succeed about maybe about 30 or 25% or 30% of the time. And typically they have some form of external guarantor that will allow these peace deals to go forward. Now this one does, but one of the big issues that we have here is that what it looks like is actually, in a sense, it's negotiation, but it looks a lot like Hamas capitulation. So I think that would make it very difficult for Hamas to accept this, especially because there would be a belief that if they do stop fighting and they do demobilize and they do turn in their weapons as the points require, there would be nothing to stop Israel from potentially trying to, after that point, continue trying to annex Gaza or trying to do anything else to try to, in a sense, assert itself over that territory and undermine Palestinian independence. So I think it would be difficult for them to accept this, but there always is a chance.
All right, so there always is a chance in pretending and saying that this goes through. What are your thoughts on this transitional governments group? It's made up of a whole list of people, including Palestinians, international experts. This is a board of peace, also headed up by the Trump administration. What does that look like? What are your thoughts on that group?
So it's interesting because, again, just a little bit of background. So the Palestinians seem to have been fractured during the course of their conflict with Israel. So in Gaza, that's where Hamas is, and in the West Bank, that's where the Palestinian Authority, led by Fatah, is, and those are two often rivalrous factions. So what this looks like, again, is something that may be advantageous to Fatah, but not necessarily Hamas. Right? And so again, that might sort of cause some issues with the deal. The board looks like it's a composition of those from Europe, of those that are in Fatah, and some others. And I think it would be very hard, I think, for Hamas to accept this, especially because it looks like a return to imperialism, which, if we go way back to the late 1940s, the whole point of this conflict, I think from the Palestinian side, was to liberate itself from colonialism and try to build its own state. So again, having this board there, which looks like it's comprised of many forces that they would view as responsible for colonialism, it would be a really tough sell. The only way they could accept it, I think, is if they are so destroyed militarily that they have no ability to resist. But it would be a hard sell.
Yeah, there's not a lot of key things here that Hamas could look at as wins here, especially because they would cease to exist if they accepted this. Navin, one of the things that we heard the president say is, say this deal is not accepted. In that case, he told Bibi Netanyahu that he would give him full support to do what Israel needs to do to end the war in their own means, which of course would probably look at continued invasion, continued bombardments, as we've seen this morning. What's your level of concern that if this deal doesn't go through, about what we could see in Gaza?
Very, very significant. So again, if we look at the deal, and I were to just look at it critically and look at it from the way Hamas might look at it, they would see this deal as full of poison pills, full of conditions that they can't possibly accept, right? Unless, again, they're completely defeated militarily. And so if they're looking sort of strategically at this, what they might sort of think is that this deal is intended to get them to say no. At that point, then Trump could wash his hands of them and basically allow Netanyahu to do whatever he wants. So again, if there is a chance that Hamas can take it, then my hope is that this can stop the killing. But this is not a good deal for them. And again, the only way they would accept it is if they're completely, if they don't have a lot of capacity to resist anymore. And I don't know if they're there yet.
And Dr. Bapat, real quickly here, what would make Hamas come to the table, and what would make it an advantageous deal for them?
Well, I think what they would want, so what they've been asking for, again, and they do get in this deal, is some degree of prisoner release. But what they have been asking for is some Palestinian state that can function on its own. And right now, Gaza is not that, right? And I would say even if we look at the Palestinian Authority's control in the West Bank, also because of just history, that those two entities likely can't function on their own. So I think there does need to be some reimagining of what the peace process looks like in terms of the two-state solution. That I don't know if that's even feasible anymore. But what they'll want is some sort of guarantee that they'll have some autonomy in one of their own territories. And again, I just don't know if that's possible, and I don't know if that's something Israel would agree to either.
Again, UNC Chapel Hill professor Dr. Navin Bapat joining us this morning. Navin, thank you for your insight and breaking that down for us, my friend.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.